Wow, this is kind of cool. Yeah, the infinite loop. All right, well, I'm doing a live here, and I'll save this for later. I'm going to do a kind of shop walkthrough. And this is pretty cool. These meta glasses can see everything I'm seeing, and it talks to me. So I'm going to do a little walkthrough on what I have here in my shop to kind of get an idea of how I'm set up here and kind of go through some of the progress made for certain systems that I have. So a new addition to the shop here that still needs to get set up is a slider. My material storage for sheet goods for the most part when it comes in. My traditional table saw is what I've been using for a very long time. I switched to a slider, then back to a table saw, and then, I said, why not just add another slider in here? I got a little bit of space. It's just kind of more of a luxury to have that to be using. I work very efficiently with a table saw, so it's never been really a hindrance not to have a slider. Edge bander here. I have a small section of a clamping table that I was putting together here, show the versatility and how big of a table you could really have in your shop. So this is a 3x4 sheet. Over there I have a 4x9 sheet that I use as my primary table, but like something this could be a small section in a shop where you want to clamp small parts together, something that rolls around on a cart. But that's kind of how all that works. And while the compressor kicks on, I'm going to kind of go over and show the, that's pretty interesting, 3D printing room where all the parts are getting made. There's plenty of printers in here. It gets really, really hot in this room, so I got to work on keeping it cool. This is kind of finished now. Might as well throw it into the bins and keep the next round going. Constantly having these printers going, and I always need more, but I work with what space I got. All right, let's restart that print and let it go. All right, now coming back to the main part of the shop, I have my miter saw station clamping, pocket hole machine here. My main table here is a scissor lift table. So I put the hydraulic lift so it can go up and down, and then I set some blocks underneath just to make sure it doesn't drop on me while I'm working on this table. Then over here, very great investment I ever did was getting this Grizzly 3-spindle shaper that I can run my cope cuts, my stick profiles, and then I can always throw something extra in here. I have a router bit collet in there for the spindle, but I have plenty other cutters in the drawers here that whatever I want to set up for there. One of my favorite things I had added to the shop was this saw gear. Tiger stop fence is amazing. It goes down to a 32nd of an accuracy, so I'll have a whole cut list of door parts that I'm going to assemble that I will have on my CAD files laid out what those measurements are, and then I'll go through and say 10 inches and 2/16, which would be an eighth, but 10 and an eighth. But anyways, that just goes right to where it needs to be. 25 inches, goes right to 25 inches. Very easy to calibrate if it's ever out. But it's really easy to cut the parts I need to size, like I did for this demonstration for this door. That I can set up those cuts, put the pieces together, assemble my doors, and then take my clamps and put them in place to clamp doors, square, tight, everything. So this was a sample I did yesterday, clamped really well. I don't know how good the camera quality is going to be, but nice tight joints. After a first primer coat, that line's pretty much gone. But before I ever do paint, I throw everything through the wide belt to flatten them all out in case there's any thickness variations from the clamping. Amazing machine. I love having this thing, save me a lot of time. Then this is just more of assembling parts for all the different systems that I try to keep on hand ready to go. Over here, if you can hear it turning, is the paint rack where I have everything always constantly mixed, ready to go, so nothing stays stale. I use 2K products, whether it's polyurethane or acrylics. I love the finishes from Renner, great finishes. And then right here is where I prep my paint with my spray guns. I use HVLP style cup gun, and then I use the disposable cups from 3M or off brands. And then this was great, a little plunger, so when I need some lacquer thinner to wipe my guns, I tap that and I get lacquer thinner, and I can wipe things down very easily instead of pouring out of a cup. And then I have these to flush out my guns. So very simple and quick process when it comes to using my paints, which I like, so it's not a hassle. And then finally the spray booth in here that does not get much use. So I have here's a spray booth, just extra carts in here, sitting around, racks. But I think that's the gist of the working part of the shop. And then there's a further section with the bathroom and more storage through there. As for with the clamping system, there's a big upgrade coming out for the face frame system of the positioning of the clamps and parts to retrofit what is going to go onto this clamp system with the previous clamps still intact and using those, and just different parts that will be kind of an upgrade kit. So pretty soon the price will change on that within the week to reflect. Right now orders are going out with these parts, so that intermittent switch between the increase and announcing the new parts, people are getting them. But after a certain point, the price will go up on these purely because of the assembly process and the amount of parts needed. Nothing to do with tariffs. I make all the parts that I need here, so it's purely just more time involved into the system. But the cabinet door clamping system is still the way it is. Amazing system. I love it. So doing more videos of these first-person views to show how systems get assembled, put together, so it's the information is a little more clear for everyone when they're interested in what's on the website. Hope that live video just kind of walk through the shop, what's going on in here. As for this week, the last bit of this week's orders are going out, and so daily, if not, orders are always going out as fast as possible, so there's not really a big wait time. Just depends on how big of an order that needs to get boxed up and how long that takes to be put together. But that's the shop, a one-man shop working very efficiently and always creating new things to make what I do here in the shop a lot easier and makes me more efficient. So all right, hope you guys enjoy that.